What's up, guys? So 2 years ago I interviewed Eric Thomas, also known as ET the Hiphop Preacher, when he came to London as a part of a UK tour. At this time I was filming for Strife TV, and since then I've joined Stance, and I'd forgotten about this interview for well over a year. So while I have this new channel, I thought that I would upload the interview here for everybody to see. A lot of the things that he's talking about though is in a dance context or in a hip-hop context. However, there's still a lot of things that he's saying that we can apply to different elements of our life. So I hope that you guys enjoy this video and enjoy the interview, and if you do, please like it, share the video, and subscribe for more videos. Thank you, guys. Peace.
All right, well, for those that don't know me, my name is Eric Thomas, aka ET the Hiphop Preacher, and I try to inspire people, to approach their work with a different mindset, with a different energy, with a different effort than people generally, apply their work or approach their work. Well, that's exactly true. I came across the name, like it came across me. I didn't necessarily give myself the name. When I was working at the university, being around, that youth group, those young adults, they gave me the name. I used a lot of hip hop references. For instance, I might say you can have whatever you like. That might be the name of a message. And then my energy and my passion, they would say it's like you preaching to us, so hence the name, a part of that culture. This generation gave me that name, ET the Hiphop Preacher. I think there's a common theme in people settling, and that's my one big thing, never settle. I think there are people who, because they live in a world of mediocrity, I find that, people are, they don't have this thing, this drive, this passion to push themselves. And that's what I like about working with athletes, that they have this mindset that, they have to push themselves. So that's the one common thing, that people are settling. People aren't saying, ET, man, I got to get to that next level. But I'm able to help them to see, you got to get to that next level. I see a common theme of, you talked about it earlier, people wanting to stay in certain pockets where they feel comfortable. And I'm saying, hey, there's a whole world out there. I'm from the United States. London's out there. Germany's out there. Asia's out there. Africa's out there. And so I find that there's also a group that they want to stay, in certain pockets, and they're afraid to travel the world. There's this fear of the unknown. So those are the two things, the settling and then the fear. And I try to teach people, like, you got to get past fear. You have to push yourself and see not what you're doing, but what you're capable of doing. Absolutely. I think that, if you were in Spain and you spoke the language, if you were in Russia and you spoke the language, if you were in Germany and you spoke the language, there's going to be a connection. There's something about language that connects us. And so when you speak a person's language, and I'm not just referring to like, English or Spanish, when I say their language, I'm talking about when you are able to relate to a person on where they are, that automatically connects you. So absolutely, I just feel like, because we do speak similar languages, there's an intimacy that we have. There's a connection that I have with this generation that if I didn't speak the language, I don't know that we had the same connection. It's one of the only art forms where you can be yourself. You don't have to stay in this box. You don't have to be, what everybody wants you to be. It's this originality that comes from hip hop. It is this expression of oneself that comes from hip hop. And again, there's no glass ceiling. Like a lot of art forms, there's a glass ceiling. You can't do this, or you can't say that, or you can't go here. But hip hop it allows you to break away from the box, to be yourself, and to know that the sky is ultimately not even the limit. Young people are going to look for greatness. Like, I don't think, they look for necessarily football. They're looking at, just because he plays football. There's this greatness when he's out there on the field, the moves that he's doing, the fact that, when you look at a Beckham, what he's put into it, like you look at his body. I mean, you just look at everything about him and you see excellence. And so I think as a dancer, we have to be careful. They're not just looking at the art form, but kids are looking at your energy, the passion that you put in it. They're looking at your moves. They're looking at your face. They're looking at your body language. They're looking at every aspect of it. So if I'm watching a dancer, the dancer has to understand that you are just as great as any other art form, because right now, your expression is giving me an opportunity to see what I can do. Now, I may not dance, but when I see life in you as a dancer, then I know I can have life. When I see passion, then I know I can bring passion into my work. When I see this level of creativity, your clothes, You know, the moves, the way, the personalized moves that you do, that's making me understand that when I speak, like, I'm trying to compete with you as a speaker. I'm like, I see what you're doing as a dancer, so when I speak, I got to speak with that same light. And that's why I think when you talk about this generation of dancers in hip hop, I mean, you know, I've watched, you know, So You Think You Can Dance. You know, I've watched some of the greatest shows, you know, and I've watched them come out, you know, as a group and do their thing. And I'm watching as a speaker and saying, all right, E, next time when you come, what video can you do? Or what play on words can you use to bring life, you know, to those people who are listening? So I would say to my dancers, just like everybody else, you are a role model. And whether you know it or not, people are watching you and getting inspiration from what you do or what you don't do. Well, I would say to you, you could break that level of fear of not focusing on the fear. Like so many people focus on, you know, what could go wrong. You know, that's their thing. Like they're not being themselves because they're thinking, you know, this person could beat me or I might mess up. And I tell people, think about what could go right. Think about the fact that if you dance the right way this first time, how many doors that could open. You could be traveling the world. Like other dancers could be looking up to you. So for me, it's like, stop focusing on what could go wrong and start focusing on what could go right. How this one performance could change your life forever, change the art form forever, put you in a whole different situation. So that's what I would say. Don't focus on the negative, focus on the positive. Absolutely, I don't feel like dance has the credit that it deserves because it was the beginning. But I think dancers have to do their part, you know, to say, here we are. Because the DJ is doing what he has to do to keep this thing alive. You know, the rapper is doing his thing. But it started off with DJs. And then rappers blew up. And now the dancers are taking the back seat. But when I was coming up, the dance was a part. It was an integral part. You didn't separate break dancing from hip hop. It was hip hop. And so over time, I think the other things have gotten better and dancers have, you know, fallen in the background. And I challenge dancers to get back to their rightful place. Like I said, when I was coming up, there was no just rapper. It was the DJ. Everybody knew the DJ, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. You knew Jazzy Jeff, Run DMC. You knew who the DJs were back in the day. LL Cool J, like you knew Salt and Pepper. You knew who their DJ was. Spinderella, you knew. And so the dancers was out, the hip hop, they were doing their thing. And so the dancers have to take their rightful place. And it's not going to just happen by osmosis. But you talked about that level of creativity. You talked about, you know, bringing passion and drive back into the art form. So yeah, I agree. They have to get back to their rightful place.